Good evening, everyone. Tonight is November the 18th, 2024, and it's time for the November update to the broadband expansion projects going on in Caroline County. So we'll go through this information. Tonight's format is a little different than normal because of multiple scheduling conflicts, uh, and we're getting into that time of year. We had difficulty trying to get enough people together to have the normal informational meeting. So this will just be in the form of a broadband update. And again, we didn't have any business to actually vote on. Our main business tonight is to get the information out to the citizens of Caroline, so they're aware of what's going on with those projects. So we'll go ahead and get started. Uh, in the Caroline County Verizon project, and it started in fiscal year 2023. If you look at the update or the scorecard provided by VADI, you will see that it's showing 83% fiber complete with 72 miles. That number is incorrect. This has not been updated. The actual construction is much higher than that, which we'll cover in just a second. 854 contracted locations in that project and 46% complete. But again, this information was not updated since October on that website. So we'll go into some very up-to-date numbers that were updated as early as about 3 or 4 hours ago. So we do have good information to pass on, and hopefully everyone will find it interesting, and we'll get through this. If you notice the time frame, that is accurate. We're about 71% expired on the Verizon timeline. But if you notice, it started on October 23rd of 2023, and it runs until April 23rd, 2025. So this is a smaller project, so it is shorter. So we are 71% expired. The funding numbers, there's issues with that as well. But if we go down to the bottom to the actual phases and milestones, that's that is accurate. So we see that planning, bill walkout, and permit applications are complete. They're in the process of doing some make-ready work and aerial construction to connect some additional equipment. The underground buried construction is also taking place to connect that same equipment. I think what we'll see is within the next month or so, probably by the next month's meeting, a lot of these will have green check marks as they complete that work. On-site electronics installation is still ongoing. That will probably be unchanged until the point where all addresses are released for sale. Cabinet in service, the same thing. And of course, the quality assurance checks, the quality control verification, service available at all locations, the broadband closeout report, and then we have to do a 6 and 12-month closeout report. All of those are incomplete, but that's where we're at in the project. So we're going to start out by talking about this project, the Caroline West Verizon project. Fiber in this area, unlike the previous slide, is actually 100% installed. So they have no more fiber to install in this, of course, excluding the drops to the individual houses. Since our last meeting, Horseshoe Bend Road has now been open for sale. And if you remember, we did have an area out in the Beaver Dam area that was running into some issues with right-of-ways. They've been resolved. The issue has been worked out, and the installation is complete. That has been completed, and the residents of Horseshoe Bend Road and a few houses down on Carter's Gate can actually place their order now. And we'll show you a little bit later how to do that. With the additional addresses that just opened up, that makes 418 of 858 addresses that are now available to place an order. Remaining addresses on Eastern Jericho Road, north of Jericho Road, south of Jericho Road, as well as addresses north of Lake Landor or on or around County Line Church Road. So if you take a slice of the project, the outlying areas, north, south, and some west there are still incomplete at this time, but they're relying on a piece of equipment that is they're in the process of configuring now. The remote equipment is being configured, and that will open the remaining addresses of the 858 addresses very shortly. So stay tuned. You want to make sure that you know when you can place an order. So the Caroline West Verizon project remains well ahead of schedule and will complete ahead of the March 2025 deadline. So let's move on to Caroline East, the Caroline County Breeze Line fiscal year 2023 project. So in this project, you'll see that there's a lot more mileage to be constructed, 439 miles, 9% of which is complete. A lot more locations. Instead of 858, we're looking at 3,910, which about 2% are available for sale now. Also, look at the contract timeline, and the time frame on this. It has expired by 35%. So we're about a third of the way through this project. This project also started in October 2023 with an end date of October 23rd, 2026. Why is that later? The reason why that's later is because of the size of the project. It's a really large project with a lot of work going on. And if you see that they've spent about 5.71% of their expected expenses to this point. So you will see that field design and engineering is complete. Field walkout is complete. Of course, there are a lot of permits that are currently being filed. So that's in progress. Make ready, aerial construction, underground construction, cabinet enclosure installation, fiber splicing, on-site electronics installation, cabinet in service, quality assurance checks are ongoing, quality control verification is ongoing, and what has not been started or not complete is service available at all locations, the broadband closeout report, and then the 6 and 12-month closeout report. So with a 3-year project, we have a closeout report. 6 months after the end of the project, we have a 6-month post report, and then 1 year after the close of the project, we actually have a 12-month post closeout report. So project's 3 years long. We'll be still reporting to DHCD up until the end of the 4th year. So let's take a look at VATI 2023 Caroline East Verizon project. If you look at it, there's been some color change since our last meeting, and this is what I wanted to make sure that we got the news out there. If you look on that project, there's a new color in there, orange. It runs pretty much just south of Bowling Green, all the way down 301 to the Frog Level area, and then off to the right and left. That color indicates that the purchase orders for both aerial and underground construction in those areas has now been released to the contractor. So residents that live in any of that orange area will start seeing construction both underground and overhead. Now, as the construction progresses, what we will see is that their first focus is to get all the way from the top of that orange area to the very bottom where the pins are. There's a switch in the Frog Level area that will power a lot of the expansion that we see right there from that switch down south. So for that reason, that's their priority right now, is to get that switch hot. And then also from there, it's just a very short distance over to the Massey Park switch. That'll be put in place, and from there, they would be able to fire up the rest of those blue areas. So again, if you live in the orange area, expect to see both overhead and underground construction going on. A lot of this area is already built out underground, but what you haven't seen to this point has been overhead construction or REC, Rappahannock Electric Co-op work with poles. You will see that now. So just be aware that if you're traveling in that area, you may see some construction signs. Just be careful, be safe going through those areas. So in the Caroline East project, the design of the project is 100% complete at this point. To date, 39 miles of fiber has been constructed. That's 39 of 439 miles in the project, and that's been built since January of 2024. So, in going on a year now, we've now put down 40 miles, but what you will see is that number start to jump because that's only the fiber that's in place in the conduit or been put overhead. There's a lot more miles of conduit that's been installed. So what you'll see is that 39 jump really fast as we get closer to the turning on that switch down in the frog level area. 89 of the 3,910 locations are now available for sale. So, of all of those locations, 3,910, 89 people over in the Sparta area, north of Sparta, can now place their orders. So, in the Caroline East project, it's a little different from the Caroline West. In addition to being much larger, there are also 4 railroad crossings required that go under CSX. One of those 4 is now complete. The process to get those crossings under those railroad tracks has now been going on for over 2 years, which most of the delays, if not all, have been caused by CSX. So that's where we're at with those. Hopefully, we'll have those shortly. The remaining 3 crossings should complete in time to avoid a project delay. So while we have been facing delays on the railroad crossings, they have not delayed the overall completion of the project. Back in 2022, when we applied for the first grant and we were unsuccessful with that grant, we actually decided to continue to move forward with the construction of the railroad crossings because we knew that the timelines for railroad crossings would be very long. And if we took a 2-year delay in railroad crossings and dropped it in the middle of a 3-year project, it would have been nearly impossible to get the project completed on time. So as it goes right now, if we can get those last 3 crossings in, it should not result in a project delay. This project remains on schedule and is likely to complete by the deadline of October 2026. So let's take just a minute to talk about another program that's also through the Department of Housing and Community Development, the same state agency that funds the VADI program that the bulk of the work that's being done is being funded from. The Line Extension Customer Assistance Program, or LECAP, is a program that's designed to support the extension of existing broadband networks to low to moderate income homes. LECAP is a program that offers installation assistance and is available through DHCD. So it's important to note that this will help you get installed. It is not going to give you assistance on your monthly fees. What we've seen, the Affordable Connectivity Program has long since expired back in March, but the cable companies and the providers across the country, in seeing the challenge that was caused by that program stopping, have reduced the cost of some of their monthly programs to be in the $30 range. So there are some affordable options out there. Currently in the LECAP program, there's about $8 million available in this fund. As the new federal programs kick off, it is suspected that the funding for this program in particular will be discontinued. So the key point to note there is this program is designed to assist people who live in an area that currently has service, older systems, that they're currently served by an internet service provider, but the cost to extend that cable down their long driveway is preventing them from getting a connection. So the funding from this program is made to assist with that cost. I talk to, on a weekly basis, someone that's in that exact situation. Oftentimes in older systems, sometimes called hybrid or HFC, systems where there's a mixture of coax and fiber, it can be very expensive to run down a long driveway, 900 feet, 1,000 feet or more. So the cost of this can easily be from $4,000 to $8,000 or more just to get down your driveway. So from the cable on the road to the end of the driveway to your home could cost $4,000 to $8,000. This number makes it out of reach for the average citizen. Households earning below $170,340. That's the total household income of below 170,340 that are in areas that are currently being served by a provider may qualify for assistance. Persons needing assistance applying should reach out to us using the broadband inquiry form on the county website. We've covered this before, but let's cover it again. If you go to the county website and you click the area that says Broadband in Caroline, that will take you to this page. And the large orange button right in the center of that screen is the button that you would click. And it's a very easy form. Once you click that, you'll enter your contact information and click submit. And it will come to me and we can reach out to you, give you the necessary information about how to get an application filed and the steps involved. So it is important to note that LECAP is a program, an assistance program that is completely between the user or the citizen that's applying for it and DHCD. The county does not have anything to do with that program itself other than just helping you get to it, making you aware that it is available, and assisting you in applying. However, after that, you apply through the state. If you receive the funding, the state reaches directly out to the internet service provider and arranges for the installation to happen. So again, that's totally between the citizen, DHCD, and the ISP, with the county not being involved with that. That kind of wraps it up for the information that we needed to cover tonight. We knew it'd be short, but again, I appreciate everyone's time in joining us. Just know that our next broadband update meeting is scheduled for Monday, December the 9th at 7 p.m. Please feel free to join us as these updates are streamed via YouTube. And if you have any questions, remember to go to the county website, click the broadband inquiry form button, and shoot us a message, and we'll get right back to you as soon as we can. Again, thanks for joining us. Our next meeting will be after Thanksgiving, so everyone have a safe and blessed Thanksgiving. Thank you. Have a good evening.